Hello my stitchy friends, welcome back. My name is Laura, you found Lila Do Stitches, and I'm so glad you're here with me this morning. I am just gonna dive right into it. I've got a busy day, and so it's early morning. Yeah, we're just gonna work with what we've got. It's cozy, right? Yeah, it's cozy. It's cozy. I'm also sipping on my coffee, so. Ugh. How's your new year starting? 2026, we're already almost 2 weeks into it, which is wild. I mean, maybe this will be one of those years that just goes quickly. I don't know, we'll see. This is my first official Flosstube of the year, so we've got a lot to chat about. I've got the last of my Christmas stitching to cover, and then I participated in 12 by 12, and so I've got a number of new starts. I don't quite have 12, but well, overall I do. They just didn't all happen officially in 12 by 12. And then I have been getting a little bit of stitching in for this first few days of the year. So yeah, and before any more chitter chat, I just want to say a big thank you to those who used the Buy Me a Coffee button. It was so fun to have a little bit of spending money while my family was in town. My mom and my sister and I love to go to cross stitch shops and quilt shops, and so we went to a quilt shop this time while they were here right after Christmas. Not much was open, which is a good thing, but there was a quilt shop that was open, so we popped in there for an hour or so and had so much fun. And I was able to pick up some fabric, and then we went online and did a little 1, 2, 3 stitch order. So thank you for your generosity and for your holiday wishes. It was lovely to read all of them, and fun to pick up some new acquisitions. And you won't see the quilting stuff today because today's a Flosstube, but I'll show you that stuff next month, because my first quilting bee will be middle of February. I already have so much to share with you. It's killing me not to film one, but every other month works, so we're gonna stick to schedule. Yeah, so let's just dive right into it. Yes, I have my notes here, so I have a little bit of organization, but we'll see how it goes. It's always a bit of improv, no matter what. Especially in the morning. Okay, so my first project you haven't seen yet. It was a new start just because I could, and it's cute. It's called Peppermint's House by Shannon Designs, and it's adorable. I first saw it a couple of years ago and thought it was delightful and have wanted to stitch it, and finally just wanted something simple but cute and fun. So I went digging in my stash and I found a little scrap of this pink polka dot fabric that I don't even know the name of, but I'm pretty confident it's a 32 count. And yeah, I almost got to all the fun gumdrops and stuff, but not quite. It was so cozy though, sitting next to the Christmas tree with all of my family buzzing loudly around and Christmas music going in the background. It was happy chaos the entire time they were here. So happy. I'm so grateful they came. And this was such a cute stitch. It's so fun. I love how she uses the colors, and I'm so excited to get into those gumdrops. That one might not wait till Christmas time again. We'll see. We'll see. I am still entertaining the idea of stitching Christmas on the 25th because I would like to make progress through the year, but we have ideas for that. Okay, this one was my Jingle Ball purchase, which if you want to see a finish on it, go watch Andrew the Runner Stitcher. He did a motif a day basically through the month of December with his Flossmas, and it was so much fun to see it grow, and I wanted to start it right away. I had fabric, I had the call for DMCs, but it's charted in DMCs and overdyes, and I was like, oh, DMC will be fine, it'll be cute. But in the picture, it's gonna be hard to see, but you can see when you like zoom in on a screen that the leaves have subtle variegation, and you know, the roof and the house. There is a little subtle variegation in it. And when I started stitching in DMC, I kind of missed that for some of the colors. So I went through and tried to find what I could and just decided I needed to use the called for oh my gosh, my brain just died. Like a robot, just powered down. Called for overdyes. I subbed some. I'm going to try to find the two greens specifically. Anyways, it's on this cute, never gonna show right, soft jade color. It's an 18 count Ada, and I want to say it's by Fiber on a whim. We might have more information on that with the next project it's on, because I started my mushrooms on it. Anyways, I didn't get very far. This ooh la la start came to a halt. Partly because things were so busy, and partly because I just decided I wanted those two greens, and with some rooting around, I found one of them, but then the other one wasn't. At that moment, I was disenchanted with the hunt, so I moved on. Okay, next one. Holiday Quaker by Lila's Studio. I am doing a complete rewrite on this, moving Quakers around, eliminating some, softly adjusting some of the colors just from stash, just so I can kit from stash. I did dye an even weave for this, and I had a full fat quarter, and then the second pattern, so I bought two patterns at Jingle Ball. The first one was that cute little banner, and then the second one was the Woodland Santa from Teresa Kogut, which has this beautiful brown coat, and I was so excited to start it and didn't. But the fabric I chose was the other half of this fabric. I was like, oh, there's enough. There's enough. I can make both of these work. Okay, Laura, well, the math gods were not friendly to my brain that day, so it's gonna be tight. I got the circle of the moon and like half a reindeer in, and then I came to a full stop because I was like, wait a second, that doesn't look like enough space. So I ran a count over to the edge. I'm gonna have like an inch. It's gonna be very small margins, smaller than planned, to be honest. But it's gonna work, and I really liked how this fabric turned out. It was exactly what I was wanting it to be, just a soft dove gray with a hint of blue that reads winter sky, and it's showing pretty gray, but I don't know, you're getting the basic idea. Anyways, long story long, I kept going. This is a 32 count even weave, and I think it's gonna be darling. This is the beginning of, or the outline of Peace on Earth, the little Peace on Earth motif, which I have moved from one side of the project to the other. So the beginnings of my shifts. I think it'll be really fun. It'll be totally different, and a bit of an experiment as I go. But yeah, it's cute. It's cute. That sleigh was fun to work on, and it'll be good to get into some of the other motifs. I wish I could show you my pattern because it is the Frankenstein's monster of hodgepodge. Let me see if I can get the back just to show. It's not even going to do it justice. No, because it just looks like pages. It just looks like pages from the back. But if you could see this side, it's like floating motifs and that are glued and ripped in some spots because it wasn't the right spot, but I had already glued it on. And yeah, it was an adventure, but I think we got a layout and spacing that will work, and yeah. Wish me luck. Sorry for all the rattlings between the paper and the plastic. It's chaos. Maybe I'm the chaos. That could be. I woke up with a relatively good head and an optimistic mind for once. And yeah, so I'm just floating on my little cloud here. Stimulating it with caffeine, as one does. Okay, this next one I'll have to pop in a picture for because I never printed out the main picture. But this is Santa's Trips by Barbara Anna, and I made good progress on it this year. I didn't quite as much done as I'd hoped. I really wanted to finish all of the berries on the border and have the border completely done. But I got the bones of the border in. When I picked this up in, what was it, November? Early December, something like that. I had not completed even the green on the border. And this square was empty. So, you know, that's good work, but good progress. Considering how busy life was, there's still a few stitches to add in. Santa and his wife do not have eyeballs yet. And there's a little bit of cream or blue or something to go into there. Cream. The blue is already in. Yeah. I can see this one being done this year. She said, with skeptical optimism. We'll see what happens. So cute though. This is on a picture, a piece, I can find the right words, of R&R linen, 32 count beach brew, which is lovely. It's a really pretty natural without necessarily the grainy look, if that makes any sense, that some natural linens get. Not that I mind that, I like that, but it's a little bit more refined. Yeah. Cute. Okay, Santa Claus. This is Lavender and Lace gift a cute gift a piece, which I've been working on for a couple of years. And it is on a piece of gorgeous 32 count linen called Driftwood. And the dyer is Fabrics by Steph. Let's see, open it on this side. And I met my goal. I really wanted to fill in all of the red on his sleeve, which was basically a hollow outline when I picked it up this year. There was a little bit, but not much. But I did it. It is fine, full, and fat. We love it. And then I just started in on the bones of this large cuff on his sleeve. I think it's fairly close to 50%. Maybe even a little over. I don't know. What do you think? It's got to be close. Got a lot of stitching in there. Anyway, this fabric is spectacular. It has a soft undertone of green in it in real vision. Which I love with the all of the greenery in this piece. I am really excited. I have the companion piece actually in the same bag waiting to be loved. And I have the other half of my fabric there. I'm not sure it's going to be big enough, but we're hopeful. We're hopeful it will be. This is the companion piece. He's a little bit more square He's a little bit more square. So we'll see, 10 by 10. We'll see how it works. I need to do some maths. Hopefully better maths than I did on Holiday Quaker. Yeah. Anyways, he's beautiful. I love him every time I work on him. I am glad to be out of that sleeve though, because that's a lot of dense stitch in there. Okay, Feliz Navidad. I hadn't planned to work on anymore, but it just felt right one of the days. I needed something to stitch on to distract my brain. So I pulled it out and I worked on the border and then adding in a few more letters in the same border colors, because that's kind of how I'm doing this piece. I am doing a full conversion from Stash, and it's a hybrid of the muted tones of the rechart and the brighter colors of the original. And let's see here. Nope, no luck. No information for me. Oh, there's my card. Does it have information on it? I don't know what this fabric is. It looks like Picture This Plus. Oh, shameful. My card is naked. All right, well, that's not helpful. Cute. Anyways, overdyes from Stash, pretty fabric of unknown origin, and probably 28 count would be my guess. Anyways, it's pretty. It's really pretty. And this is a really fun one to work on. You just kind of hop around and it comes alive a little bit more every time it gets stitches. Really, really cute. Okay. 2 more Christmas projects, and then we're into 12 by 12. Moving right along. This is called Santa's List. It is from Better Homes and Garden book called something that I took out of my project bag. Helpful. We don't have any. No. My photocopies of the pattern do not have the book information in the edges, which is interesting. Anyways, it's like 101 best loved designs by something. I've shown it before. But I've taken it out of my project bag because it's big and heavy, and what if I wanted to stitch something else from it? So I've got working copies in my project bag, and then, which I did blow up. I enlarged. It took a couple of tries to get everything to match up, but I did an enlargement on the chart, and it's so much easier to read. Huzzah. And I had one comment last time I showed this. My dilemma was with 840, which is dramatically darker than the last color that was in the background. And I'll show it in just a second, but I want to take a sip of coffee before it goes cold. Anyways, it was a big quandary for me, and I was pretty frozen by it. So I did not make nearly the progress I'd hoped to this year. But I did make progress, and I decided, there was one comment that said, just trust the process. And I was like, okay, you're right. Trust the process. It's going to be fine. I went into, I think it's Sarah's Stitchy spot, and saw hers. I was like, hers is beautiful. Keep stitching. Just keep stitching, right? So I did. And the more little dark dots I added, the more I realized that this is just the glow of the candle. It's not really the background. But I was interpreting in my brain, this is the background. And so jumping to this, I was like, those don't blend together at all. Well, they're not supposed to. The candle is glowing. So you can see the shape of Santa's head now, the beginning of his sack on his back. And we're pushing forward. I'm really excited to feel good about it again, because it's gorgeous. This project is gorgeous. I'll be working on it till I'm 80, and I don't even care because I love working on it. And I don't know what my fabric information is. It's a 32 count linen, I know that much, but I'm apparently an organized hot mess. Because I don't know what color it is, but similar to the called for. It's not the called for, but it's similar. Just classic, elegant, and I don't have much stitching beyond the fold. Gorgeous. That border, mwah, love it. It's a little fickle to stitch, but the effect is going to be worth it completely. So good. Okay, last but not least was a tiny impulsive start called Mr. Marshmallow because he's adorable. And I stitched one of Brenda Gervais' other mug people scenes things. It was a lady on a coffee cup. Anyways, this one's a snowman on a hot cocoa cup. And I will probably not do the buttons. I might just add a few more snowflakes in there. But I had a piece of green Aida and I gave it a piddly start because that's what I was in the mood for. And I am stitching with 2 threads. I think this is a 16 count Aida. I don't know. Oh, there might be a little information in here. This is one of those, it's 14 count it claims to be. Pistachio, but I don't have a dyer. But it's from Shepherd's Bush. It might be Atomic Ranch. They sell a lot of Atomic Ranch there. Anyways, he's so cute. All head, snowflake, and 6 coal buttons of him. But the colors are really pretty and will be really fun to stitch on this happy green. And he's not strictly Christmas, so you never know. It could happen that he gets some more stitches this month. Maybe. Cute, cute, cute. And it'll be fun since I already have a spot established for little mug people. I could kind of swap them out seasonally if I so chose. Okay, 12 by 12. I had originally picked out and worked on kitting over the last 6 months of 2025, 12 projects to start in the countdown to the new year. And as my regular viewers will know, I had company at the end of the year, and in November, and it just like life got busy. It was a very busy couple of months, as it is for so many people. And I just, when it came down to it, I started what felt good. There were a couple that needed a bit more brain, and they did not get starts, such as All Creatures Great and Small by Barbara Ann. I did not start that one, though I had planned to. I just couldn't get settled with it. Anyways, I did start projects. So this first one, and I've kind of, as I was choosing projects, I was trying to find things that I could work on through the year. Things that weren't strictly seasonal, but that would, if they were, like there was a variety of seasons being started so that I could work on them throughout the year. So I didn't wind up with a bunch of Christmas starts that I work on for 6 weeks out of the 52, right? So it's a bit more intentional. This one is a winter one. It's called Serenity of Winter by Twin Creek Primitives. I have a digital copy that I printed out only the necessaries on, so I'll pop in a picture. They released this one a few years ago, and I fell in love with it, and I've wanted to start it, but just never pulled the trigger on it. Anyways, I did, and I love it. This is not just my New Year's start, so I've also worked on this several days several evenings in the new year already, because it's a lovely stitch. It's very satisfying. I'm rewatching Drive to Survive F1 and I've been stitching with this, and I don't know, it's just good stuff. So this is the beginning of that fence coming down, and these little blobs are our cute little sheep wandering through the pasture. So good. So cute. I don't know what it is about this one. I'm not typically drawn to Twin Peak primitives. There's a handful that I really, really like, and then, you know, those are the ones I really, really like. But this one I really, really like. I'm stitching on 28 count linen called Lurking in the Woods by Oak Crown Studios. It's my last bit of this fabric. But it feels, I don't know, it's kind of a wild choice initially. I definitely went back and forth on it. My gut said this is going to be really beautiful on it. It's got that kind of classic old-timey aged feel, but then the blue adds in some wintry vibes, and all the colors looked really good on it. Anyways, but I definitely put my first few stitches on and was like, are you crazy, girl? Is this fabric a mistake? No, I love it. I still love it. I think it was the right way. Anyways, super fun. So I started that. It was probably one of my first 12 by 12 starts, and then I've given it some more work, which is lovely. This one, I had no time the day I started this. This was a kit from Bothy Threads that I've had waiting in the wings for years now. I think I bought it while we lived in Seattle. And oh man, it's just the smallest start. Part of the reason is time. Part of the reason is the Aida, which I knew, one of the reasons I hadn't started it yet was it's a very crunchy Aida. But it's this pretty, this is not going to show it well. It's almost a yellow, like a golden creamy. And I've had a hard time finding a replacement for it that doesn't go too brown or too gold or too gray. Yeah, it's been difficult to substitute because I don't really want to change the vibe. I just wanted something easier to stitch on, and it's fine. It's not like the worst stitching. Frankly, the Aida that another project is on, you're going to see in a minute, is worse than this one. So I got my stitches in. I was like, okay, it's a start, boring as it may be, and I don't know. We'll see where we'll see where my heart takes me on that one. I'll either keep going, or I'll complain about it enough that I'll get sick of myself and find something else with more focused effort. Okay, this one might have been my first. Oh, it doesn't really matter. Then a 12 by 12 start. Never ending. Stitching is a never ending story. And I mean, never ending story has a soft spot in my heart as a child of the 80s. And I pulled kind of a different, so they stitched theirs on a really gorgeous tan, which almost looks like it has some sparkle in it now that I'm looking at it in this light. Anyways, I had nothing similar that wasn't already slotted for something else. So I wound up pulling a mystery blue 32 count, I think, even weave. And it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. If I pull out the colors, so the body of, it's full coverage, the stitching, the body of the stitching is that color, and it's gonna look great on there. 502. So it's gonna be great. That's just the start of the top stitching is. And I did have to do a swatch test up in the corner. You can kind of see. So two rows or 3 rows are 2 over 2, and then it's 1 over 2. And I did not like 2 over 2. Almost felt poofy, like too poofy, but then 1 over 2, I could see the linen through it, and I don't care for that personally. That's not. I like full coverage with my stitches, which is why you'll typically see me stitch with 2 strands. Not always, but typically I will choose 2 instead of 1. Anyways, it was a bit of a debate, a bit of a back and forth. I did wind up pulling out the 1 over 1 I had started and putting in 2 over 2 because I just liked the coverage better. So yeah, it'll be good. Take a little more floss, but that's okay. Oh, not putting things away yet. It's so cute though. I love it. So pretty. That'll probably come out in March for Magical March. I'm gonna try to do my themes again. We'll talk plans at the end, but oh, here's that Ada that the Christmas banners, the Tiny Modernist Christmas banners was on. It's called Beanstalk by Fiber on a Whim. It is a 16 count Ada. It is also what I started my little mushroom family on. So I have 1 hat for 1 mushroom. This is a free chart on Lycian.com, I think. This is where it is. I know I found it because I printed off the picture. I printed off the picture after I showed it last time, after I showed my plans. So this is what it will be. My jade is showing a little bit muted, but it's definitely not as intense as the copy came out. Anyways, it'll be cute. It'll be super fun. It's charted in Cosmo Floss, which is the Lycian company. I have done a conversion over to DMC. So we'll see how that works out. So cute though. This is another one that I've wanted to stitch for years. It's been floating around my pattern stash for ages, and I originally wanted to stitch it in the Cosmos because I love stitching with Cosmo. It's beautiful floss, and I use it a lot in my embroidery, but I have more of their variegated threads than I do their solids. So I just never had enough colors to get started on it. And anyways, now is the time. I did it now. Sometimes I tell you guys stories and I'm like, why are you talking about that? It doesn't matter. But that's just what I do. I just rattle on. It's okay. We're just keeping each other company. We're just hanging out. This isn't formal. Ugh, ugh. It went cold. Blah. Yuck. Don't like that. Okay, next project. I have to wash that out of our mouth. Okay, so the next one comes from Sewing Club by Blackbird Designs. I wanted something small. Not all my projects could be ginormous. So I picked Ripe Pear, which is so cute, and I think would make a cute little pillow or something. I haven't done a lot of small pillow finishes, but the ones I have, they stay out pretty much year round because they're just so cute to tuck in a bookshelf or in a corner or next to a stack of books or something like that. Anyways, I have this on a 32 count Bestitch Me Not Another sampler. It's linen. Just a little scrap I had. It's beautiful linen. Oh my goodness, that's gorgeous. And I'm just doing a conversion from stash. So when I had the real colors, I'm using the real colors, and then I'm going for similar, my really organized threads here. Anyways, similar if not the called for, if that makes any sense. So cute. Small start, but you know, on a small project, that's a solid start. Oh heavens. Go away, dirt road. I think it's really cute. It'll be fun. I am doing it 2/2. Fine, full, and fat. That's how my stitches are. All right, nobody slide away. Okay, this next one was technically a restart because I started this 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago for a 12x12 and quickly fell off the bandwagon because I started on a 40 count, which was a mistake at the birth of my migraines. So I had 0 progress from 12x12. So this is Seasons of the Heart, a set of 4 cute little houses. You've probably seen them before because everybody should want to stitch them. They're just cute. I am going to not do these word tags and just continue the borders so they're all stitched. And I have a piece of 32 count. I think it's called Navy Bean, but I don't appear to have made a card for this one. Let's see if there's a tag on it. This is a big piece. I have not... Yeah, Lakeside Linens Navy Bean. I'm only going to need like half of this piece here, but I wasn't sure my math was correct because I didn't trust my math after the holiday Quaker garbage. So I am doing a kind of like with red pear or ripe pear. It's a conversion from stash as needed. If I have the colors, I tried to use the colors that were called for, but this one it looks like is largely converted. Anyways, it's cute. This was a fun, I got a lot more stitching on this because this was just a 12x12 start. I don't know if I just had more time that day or if it just hit the right buttons in my brain and was happy, but cute. And so much more comfortable to stitch on than the small count was. I really would like to stitch something small, and I have a plan for that. We'll talk about that later. But for now, 32 count is great. It's my comfort zone. Happy stitching is 32 count in Laura land. And I'm not going to commit to finishing each season in the season, but I'd like to get a little bit more stitching on winter while it is winter, maybe get into the bones of that house at some point, because it's the densest part of the stitching on all of these is that little house. And then at least on the equinox of each season, I would like to start so that by the end of the year I at least have each little pillow defined on my fabric, and then we can cut off the extra. Might cut off the extra before then. I'm pretty confident at this point, but... Oh, my bag. Okay, so this is the really crunchy Ada one. Riolis kit. Oh my gosh, she is so... I wanted to get so much more stitching on her. It is called Lady with a Fan, or based off of the artwork, Lady with a Fan, by Klimt. She's so elegant. What is she thinking? Look at those colors. Ah, so good. It is stitched on a 14 count Ada, crunchy Ada, with a wool acrylic thread. And what I love about that is it's going to look like a tapestry when it's done. What I don't like about that is it's very stiff to pull the needle through the holes because it's poofy. I'm doing it, oh, is this the right way? I think it's this way. This is the edge of her fan, and this is the beginning of the neckline. Yes. Yes, that's what we were doing. So, right along here, and right along here. It was a center start that just made the most sense for this project, and I didn't want to count out to the corner. That's the real truth here. anyways, it's gonna be awesome. Right now, it looks like a lot of, I don't know, I need to experiment with needles, see if a smaller one is still big enough to support the thread, because it is, and it calls for 2/1/8 fiber. And it doesn't look that big until you get two of them together, and it's got body, it's got bulk. So, anyways, we will persevere, but it's gonna take a little bit of play with. And I needed to really edge my fabric because I hadn't even opened the kit. So I just gave it some stitches, and it's a start. Mission accomplished. I love this project though. I really want to love stitching on it. So, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I think I got lucky with my garden lady, was she called Into Dreamland, because her fabric was dreamy. The colors are dreamy. The stitching is easy. It's just luxurious stitching. And so I expected every kit since then to be like that. And I'm epically disappointed all the time. I started Unicorn. My first Teresa Wentzler. I've been talking about starting this for at least a year. I had committed to starting it in September and fell through on my promise. But I started it before the end of the year, so it counts. Our light is like starting to come over the mountain, and it's glorious, but also not conducive. Let's just take some of the directness off. Is that better? Yes. All those beautiful sun rays coming in. Okay, so there she is. All those blended starts of a tree. This is, this fabric always shows up a little bit more dynamic in screen than it is in person. It definitely has movement, but it's a very subtle marbling. It's a 28 count even weave that I over dyed myself. And yeah, so we're just up in this tree in the corner. That felt like a really solid start, you guys. I don't know if I'll just work down. We'll kind of like approach it like that, or if I'll work over and we'll kind of like build the scene like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens when the mood strikes to work my brain cells. It's not so bad, honestly. The chart is handwritten, but I've made a working Carpy so that I can mark off the stitches I've done, so it's easier to not get lost. And she's got instructions. Let's see if I can show that. So with the colors, it talks about where to finish the cross and where not to, how to handle those quarter stitches and 3/4 stitches. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's fast, but it's not as intimidating as I let it become in my head, perhaps, is the way to put it. So yeah, I was really proud of myself to get started, because I was definitely in a place of being highly intimidated. Not anymore. Okay. Ladybug gnome. So cute. And this is on a piece of 14 count Aida that I dyed myself. Kind of jadey. It's definitely a bit brighter than it's gonna show. Let's see if we can get sometimes white will help it, like, nope, jade is evil in the camera. Anyways, we've got the start of a gnome hat, a ladybug gnome hat. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. He's just so cute. And the colors are fab. All of those, they're not as snarly as they look there. They're just flattened. Yeah. Okay, last 12 by 12 start. I don't know how many that's been, but I know it's not 12. It's like 10 or 11. It's close. The Simple Life by Linda Myers, or Servant's Heart Designs. I got this off of Etsy. She sent me a physical copy, but I purchased it through her shop on Etsy. And I am stitching this on an 18 count. I want to say it's cream and sugar. I do not have the card information. Anyways, here's my start. Just going down that right border. I like an upper right hand corner start. It works well for me. And I have swapped out this first color. So I saw a couple different pictures on, actually Pinterest is where I saw this first. I've had it in my would like to stitch for a long time. And finally, you know, I was just like clicking into things, I guess, and found the Etsy shop. Anyways, but I saw a couple different pictures. Some, the colors appeared a little bit brighter, and some of them, they appeared very muted, like late 90s color palettes for cross stitches. And there's nothing wrong with that, but my house tends to be, I don't know. I tend to be a bit more bright. I don't know, I'm all over the place, whatever. There's no rhyme or reason, it's just things that make me happy. And I want somewhere in between, basically, is what I'm getting at. I don't want it to be, you know, neon, but I also don't want it to fall. Like when I pulled the colors out, they're beautiful, but they are definitely dusty. Well, that's not going to show. Okay, sunshine. Stop being so glorious. See, they're quite muted. So the blues don't bother me as much. I like the blues. Might lift some of the reds and maybe the gold. I want it to stay gold. I don't want it to be yellow, but you know, maybe not quite as brassy, maybe a little bit, you know, so we'll play with it. I'm going to play with it as I go, and we'll see what comes of my arts and crafts. So the first thing was I switched 520, which is a very dark bluey green. And I switched it out for Spinach by Classic Colors Works, which was very close. The deepest color is very close to the called for, but it just gives it a little bit something. A little bit of something. So that's what we're going for. A little bit of something. I think that's what we'll get. So that'll be a fun one. I'm going into an Ada phase, I think. I love linen, don't get me wrong. But, okay, so now let's look at what I've stitched in the new year so far. I was very excited to stitch outside of holiday, and by the end of my 12 by 12 this year, I think I was just tired and overstimulated, and I was really, really ready to be done with something I had to do. Self-imposed have to do? Yes, but that's how my brain interpreted it nonetheless. So I pulled out winter stitches and other stitches, and I was starting to go through things for my WIP parade and thinking about plans in the new year. And anyways, these are the ones I pulled and gave stitches, and it was a delightful change of pace. So this is Needlework ABC's Glare and All, which I started a couple of years ago. I don't think I worked on it at all last year. I just wasn't in the mood. But it hit the spot, and I can pop in a picture of where I started if I haven't already. And this is where, I mean, I did the second half of the alphabet basically and added some more of this icy blue border. Get it out of the sun rays here. So I was about, did I have the tree in? I feel like it was like somewhere between H and L is where I was. I might have had the brown of the tree. I don't know. But basically I've done everything linen and down. And the green and icy blue, which that shows it a little bit better, was such a calming mix. I think this is Weeping Willow, and what a pretty color that is. So pretty. Clear down to Z, down to that little leaf in the sunshine. It's okay, if we stay back, it's pretty good. Just can't be in the sun's rays. Anyways, so pretty. And yeah, I got stuck on this for like 2 or 3 evenings and made tons of progress, so that's awesome. I'm still considering changing the color of her dress because the green and white reads pretty Christmassy to me. And while I loved the sample when I saw it at a shop in Nebraska when I was helping my parents move, so that dates it, because that feels like a lifetime ago. I don't know, I'm torn. I really liked the sample. I hadn't planned on changing anything until like last year or the year before, and I was like, everything should be different. I don't know. Maybe we'll keep it the same. I don't know. We'll find out. That's a little project bag. Anyways, I loved stitching on that one again. It was very calming stitching. Next one I pulled out is Snow Maiden, Mirabilia. She's a stunner. And all she had was kind of a weird head before. Not anymore. I'm stitching her on 32 count Pansy by Picture This Plus. And she's starting to get some skirt. So I brought this like echo of where her, she has this, what is it? It's kind of like a, what do they call those? I don't know. A ruff, not a shawl, but poofy, furry shawl thing around her shoulders. And the whole bottom half of it is white with beads and stuff in it. And I did not feel like stitching a bunch of white. So I just brought the edges down and worked on building her the beginnings of a skirt. So, yeah. She's fairly gorgeous. And it felt good to work on her. I don't remember, I might have worked on her a little bit last winter, but it was a couple of days. I think she'll get a couple more days in January. But she feels very icy January to me, so I don't really work on her outside of January, which is why her progress is slow, despite the fact that I love her. And I say it every time, but I love this bottom edge of her skirt. I'm so excited to get down into that. Anyway, so we're building down, what side is that? Mystery. I think it is this side of her skirt right now. So, yeah, she's gorgeous. Little snow maiden. Oh, this one I had fun with too. Got a bit of stitching a couple nights again. So this is a series that was being released 2 years ago? I don't remember. Does it say a date? 2024. So yeah, 2 years ago. But through into early 2025 too. And it's a series of 9 little log cabin images. They're darling from Little House Needleworks. Sorry for it. It's like the sun and it reflects off the plastic onto my eyes, and we're just like on the struggle bus. Anyways, it's super cute. I am stitching it on a Wild and Crazy blue, which I'm fairly confident the gal at Shepherd's Bush literally thought I'd lost my mind when I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stitch that new series. And she's like, you're weird. Whatever. She has no vision. It's gonna be cute, okay? It's not that wild and crazy. Anyways, I wanted it to read more wintry than Christmassy. So here we go. I had all of this dark done, but I've added all of the borders that you see, all the bones. And I think it's gonna be really pretty on this. Especially once we start getting into those little critters and houses and stuff. So, yeah, cute. The only thing I'm thinking might be beneficial is this top green is English ivy or something like that, which is very, very dark. And it does translate very, very dark in stitching. And as I've looked at, let's see, where is that corner? If they're all out of order, it's okay. May or may not be this one. Anyways, I know pictures are misleading. They've probably got great light on this without overexposing it. But the green, and it's not gonna show. In real life, the green in the picture, good grief, sunshine. Good, we have a cloud. That's not even better. Okay, anyways, sorry for the far awayness, but brain. Green looks brighter in the picture. That's what I'm getting at. It's just a touch fresher than it's looking on the fabric. And it's the only color that I haven't been thrilled with. Now, will adding the secondary green, because there is the other half of the ivy leaves, is a little bit brighter. Is that going to help enough to elevate that color so that it reads brighter green, or is it just always going to look pretty black? I don't know. Difficult to say. So, before I go much further with that, I will probably experiment with it a little bit and see if I don't have something in stash that will just be a little more like the picture and a little less like darkness in a corner. So, okay, so what are we at? We're still in my stitching, but this introduces a little bit of my plans. So I've decided this year, as I went through my whips, I had some larger projects that just haven't gotten any love in a couple of years. This is one of them. It's Loose Feathers series by Blackbird Designs. I've had the first one done for a couple of years. Well, mostly. I did find a couple of spots that didn't get stitches that need to be filled in, but for the most part it's done for all intents and purposes. And I just hadn't worked on it anymore, and I don't know why. I had great aspirations to have this be, you know, a piece in my living room, but despite thoughts, it never turned into action. Anyways, so I've decided, and I've got several projects that just got stuck for one reason or another. The Lord's Prayer, you know, I made it through all my Gru blah blahs and then fell off the wagon hard. And I just laid in the dust instead of getting back up. And, you know, I've just got a handful of projects. So I'm going to call them my big girl projects this year. And I've picked 6 big girl projects, and they will get a half an hour every other day for their 2-month stint. and we'll just get these things moving again. You know, that's the best laid plans, right? We'll hope. But all of that brown outline is new. So, you know, in 10 days, she's gotten just a couple of hours basically. And I'll confess, I've already not done a couple of days when it was in rotation, but it's still gotten a couple hours more stitching than it did for the last 2 years. So it counts. It counts. Big girl stitch. I love this pattern. This block is turning out more dramatic at this point than the picture shows. I mean, which is odd. I don't know. For me, that reads very light and airy, and it's looking very dynamic right now. Dark. But again, it could just be a picture and lighting thing. Pictures are odd. It'll be fine. It's gonna be good. Maybe I'll pick a different green. Because this one wants that English ivy again. And you guys, I have nothing wrong with nothing against English ivy, but that color's dark. That's dark. I don't know. We'll play with it. We'll keep stitching. It's gonna be good. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And getting the blue in there will help. Getting the blue in there will help. But, oh good. Excellent. There we go. Anyways, there she is. Big giant bird on a little tiny house. It's like Lord of the Rings eagle size. Okay. Okay, so this I started on the 2nd or 3rd of the year. My sister and I are doing a larger scale patriotic stitch for the 250th. And I also have a quilt that I'm starting. So I've got 2 projects, one in each hobby, if you will. And my choice is Teresa Koget's Land That I Love, which I started kitting up, I don't know, what was that? September, October that I started. I dyed my fabric and started pulling colors. I am doing, again, kind of my own little twist on things, a little soft conversion. I've pulled so some of these are the called for, and some of these are little additions. Pretty colors. Got really dramatic sun rays coming through. Let me show it on my fabric. I was trying to go for a taupey gray. So I dyed, I think was this just a tea dye? It might have been. I don't remember if there was anything else involved. It might have just been a tea dye over a gray even weave. But anyways, oh my land. I don't want to sit in the dark. Oh. Battles of the window. Okay, anyways, sun battles regardless. I'm really liking how everything's turning out. I have switched the vine color from the DMC to Weeks Dye Works Havana, which was one of the called for colors, but it was in like 2 tiny little spots. And I thought it would make a beautiful vine that is very comparable to the called for, but just a little bit warmer and just a little bit of movement. And then I've also switched out the 377 whatever that is the leaves for Cherry Cobbler. Is that right? Yes. Cherry Cobbler by Weeks, or Classic Colorworks. And anyways, I'm doing a little conversion, but basically the same colors as pictured. It's been very fun. Very satisfying stitching. And I'm doing it 2/2. I think I said it's a 32 count. It's going to be large and in charge. That's okay. That's kind of the point of this one. And in conjunction with my patriotic stitching, oh, here's the called for colors. Not that they're going to show very well, but anyways, you can see it's similar but like different. As is everything, apparently. That's the theme of this episode. Similar but different, you know, not. Anyways, in conjunction with my patriotic stitching, I am, you know, I'm an amateur history lover. One second. Ugh. And I have decided to go back to the roots. So I'm reading The British Are Coming, which is the first in a trilogy about the revolution, the American Revolution. So the fight for independence and freedom, and so far, you know, it's talking about democracy and big dreams, and you know, it's very interesting because I'm also in conjunction, not related, but at the same time I'm also reading a book on the French Revolution, which would have been almost 100 years before that. Well, they have several revolutions, but one of them predating Napoleon, so leading up to Napoleon's era. And it's very interesting how, and this is totally just like a spin-off conversation, you guys, but it's interesting to me how relevant these historic events are and how we continue hundreds of years later to talk about, or hopefully continue to talk about, human rights and equality and freedom, the concept of freedom. What does that mean? What does it mean for different people? And anyways, it's very interesting. It's tickling my brain, and I'm finding it a really nice companion to my stitching. So there you go. I'll jump off that now. Okay, got a couple more, and then we'll go into plans. Almost there. Thanks for sticking with me, you guys. So I meant to look up the name of this designer because I, again, bought a digital copy and printed out the bones, and nowhere on the bones does it actually say the names. And of course, me being myself, I call it something entirely different. So I'm calling it Dino DNA, which is not what it's called. But my little niece just turned 3 last week, and she had a dino birthday. And she got a big girl bicycle, and she's a little adorable terrorist. Like, she is just... They say terrible twos. I think it kicks in at like 2.75, and it will go through most of her 3s, if not all of them. She is just experimenting with everything. It's very interesting to watch. It can be very frustrating at times. She's very irrational, but she's cute. Anyways, she's 3. So I started, for no reason other than it was an excuse to start, this Una Buena Pieza dinosaur, I'll pop in a picture, scene, which I have loved since she released it and have been looking for an excuse basically to start it. Why I needed an excuse? I don't know. I can start what I want. But I did get this piece of Mystic Fabrics Lugana brain from my friend for my birthday, and for some reason this project just really worked on it. I started it originally on a blue, but the some of the colors just ghosted on it. It just didn't have the magic I was looking for. This is gonna be fabulous. So we've got our first little pterodactyl up there. Most of him. He's missing 2 lines of yellow. I think I just ran out of floss and was out of time. But yep, there we go. Dino DNA. That's not what it's really called. But we'll get the real information on it. Yeah, called for DMC. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited to get into the line of volcanoes, get some more colors of dinosaurs on. Fun, fun, fun. Same designer as my space sky. Similar concept too, as far as like the structure of the design, but yeah, it's gonna be cute. It's gonna be fun. I've run out of thoughts. Look, pretty. Okay, the last thing I worked on was a restart. And it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. So this is a Dimensions Gold collection. And it has had 0 work since I started it a couple years ago. I don't even remember when I started it. I originally started it as a memorial piece, so it's got to be around 4 years ago, for my dog Buddy. He was an angel, but he passed about 4 years. It'll be 4 years ago in June, right before we moved to Seattle. And you know, losing pets leaves a hole, and so I wanted to do something. I loved that this had a black lab and a yellow lab, or what appeared to be that way in the picture, and I was like, okay, perfect. But I started it, and dimensions kits are hard. Not because of counting or whatever. It's a physical thing for me. They use, you know, 4 or 5 strands through 16 count 8 holes. This is my original stitching. It's flattened to no end right now. Anyways, it was challenging, and that's part of the dimensions aspect, right? The bulk creates form of itself. But I've heard some people say just do 2 strands, just don't increase your strands when you're going to go into other parts. Stitch it as you would everything else, and that makes it a lot easier. And but you know, crunchy Adas and all that stuff, which again, I know would soften with handling and whatever, but these are all excuses that I'm dying on the hill for, I guess. Anyways, I restarted it. Blah, 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 I restarted it. All my excuses, and I had this piece of blue Ada, which is a little bit bluer than the blue-gray, which became my current hesitation. So I started it, it's 5 strands, half stitch. I just started in the corner, got some more stitching in, and then, but it is pulling a little bit, like distorting the fibers, which part of that is the nature of linen and stuffing that many strands into it. The stiffer Ada will handle that better, right? And it would probably all come out in the wash when it's done. But I am considering reducing threads. Anyways, I'm in a quandary again. It's in a pause. Not a perma pause, but a pause, because I just need to figure out how to approach my dimensions projects. So there you go. I thought this was going to be a tale of victory with the restart. And it still could be. If I reduced it even down to 4, I think that would make a big difference instead of 5. And frankly, like where the color is kind of fading, like it's up in that corner. Yeah, it's up in this tree. So if it got a little lighter as you came into the lighter part of the sky, because of fewer strands of floss, you know, that would be okay. Anyways, I don't know. It's in timeout. I have to think about it. I'll figure it out. I will. I might have an emotional block on the project too. It's fine. We'll figure it out. Someday. Okay, so this comes into plans. So I am going to work on Lovebirds a little bit this month and next month. Hopefully bring it to a finish. I have decided officially to omit the outer roses, as gorgeous as they are, and just do the center birds with the bee. I love the kind of heart shape it has without the roses. And I think it'll be really beautiful. So I have a lot of leaves to fill in, and I haven't done any of the beading yet. There's still some back stitching, so there's still quite a bit of work to do, that whole little bee. But it's nice to have a decision made on that one at least. And it'll be good to move forward with that. So this is on 32 count Glory by Picture This Plus. Called for everything else. They're beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So I'll give that some love, and then, and I already have all the beads for that. I also feel like this isn't quite a big girl project because I'm not as committed to getting more progress on it, but I would like to give it some stitches. It's been a little bit. After the Roses by Ink Circles, which is gorgeous, and I've seen at least one person in the last couple years finish it. It was spectacular. It's not quick stitching though. There's a lot of switching threads, and it's the same thing in each quadrant. So I was trying to do, you know, just go around the circle basically and build it out, and I don't know. I love the finish. I love the chart. I just lost steam on it. So I'd like to get some more stitching in on it because it is gorgeous. I have it on a Mount Air linen. It's called Plum Pudding, 32 count. It's gorgeous. Beautiful. And I'm holding all of these skeins of floss hostage, apparently. So, you know, maybe if I get some more stitching in on it, it will reignite the passion for it. So that one's pulled out. And then I would also like to work a little bit more on Needlework ABC, give another day to Snow Maiden, maybe work some more on the borders of Log Cabin Christmas, and maybe Winter's Hush without 5 strands. I don't know. We'll see. Yes. I have one final start planned, and then, well, okay, I have 2 starts in here, but like through February. It's so funny. I'm not going to start very many things, but you know what? Christmas. So, okay, so one thing you might remember that I worked on and said I was going to work on again in January, but you have not seen here as a whip or plans, is my Winter Quaker, which is also called Peace on Earth Quaker by Lila Studio. And yes, where is my earring? It's gone. When did that happen? You guys, how long have I been sitting here with no earring in? How did I not notice it fall off my head? These are the questions. What the heck? All right, so that's a thing. I don't even know where the back is. It's just gone. Maybe I'll steal the back off of one of my other ones. All right, we'll see how well things stay in place this time. Good grief. Okay, well, now that I look like a more balanced human. What was I saying? Oh, yes. Peace on Earth, Winter Quaker. Lila Studio. Gorgeous. I love it. My mother, who was here several times over the fall and Christmas season, started it just before Thanksgiving. Yes, I think that's right. I think no. She started just, well, okay. She had started it after Halloween. She was here for about 2 weeks. Like early to middle of November, and went home for Thanksgiving. Okay, yes, this is the chain of events. And she had started Winter Quaker. And it was on a 28 count or 32 count or something, but it was giant. And she wound up, unfortunately, having a major counting error. Kind of like the Lord's Prayer level counting error, where she would have had to take out the whole center wreath, and it was a whole heartbreaking saga, right? So basically she put it away while she was here and was thinking about what to do and worked on something else, because no project travels alone. We always bring multiples. So she had plenty of things to work on. But, oh, it just occurred to me, whatever. My brain just got derailed. Anyways, so that was the thing. She wound up restarting it right before Thanksgiving on a piece of, because it was just too much. It was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stitches to pull out, maybe even more. And things were not going to line up. It wasn't fudgeable, basically. So she, oh, bless her, she scrapped it. I think at some point just because I know my mom, she will pull that out and use the fabric for something else. But it'll be at the time and place where she has the mental capacity for it. The heart for it is really what it comes down to. Anyways, she started it on 40 count and she frickin' finished it by the first of the year. Now, she did stitch it pretty much monogamously through December, but holy cow, she stitched the entire thing. It's so cute. It's so cute on 20 count Ada. I mean, it took the center wreath from like this level business to like this level business. It's so cute. And seeing it every day for over a week while they were here just had me intensely curious about stitching on, I need to not lean on my table, stitching on 20 count Ada. Now 40 count linen has proven to be a challenge for me, but my mom has a worse head than I do. So if she can do it, I can do it. And maybe that will be the solution to the occasional smaller stitching. And also, maybe I need to restart my Winter Quaker, is what this all comes down to. So as an experiment, I'm going to hibernate Winter Quaker. And instead, I'm going to start Spring Quaker, which is the only remaining Quaker of Lila Studio I haven't started yet. So this will have me stitching, you know, it's a Lila Studio Quaker every quarter. And part of my haul was I went out and found, well, I bought on 1-2-3 Stitch several 20 count Adas, partly looking for color, partly just to have options to play with, because if I start this and I love it, which I'm likely to do, I love stitching on 18 count Ada, right? It can't be that much different. Anyways, if I like it, then it gives me resources to start other things. So I picked up 4 fat quarters, and thank you for my Christmas present. So 4 fat quarters, similar but different, right? They've all got slight tonal differences. This one's definitely the lightest. This is the most solid of the creams. And then just an icy one, just in case, because you never know when you'll need something different. So I'm going to use this one for Spring Quaker because it is beautiful. Let me get it against, that shows it pretty well. This is Thornfield Ada. I'm not sure, you know, I've got this 1, 2, 3 sticker on here, but it doesn't actually say who the dyer is. Anyways, it's really pretty though. And okay, here's me going all Laura on this, right? So we've got pretty Ada, we've got our pretty tiny Ada, we've got our pattern. I have been in love, so let me pull out my planner here because I've got pictures. Originally, I was in love with, somebody had done a pink version because this is very beautiful. And if you want to see it stitched up in all its glory, check out Samantha the Huga Stitcher. She is done with this one. If she's not done, she's terribly close. Anyways, for me, it's a little too much brown to read spring. And especially with these snowflakes, for me, it reads early spring. So I had seen a couple different versions. The first one was all blue, which I only have a tiny itty bitty picture of. So they changed all the Quakers to blue. If I can pop in a picture, which I should have access to because I printed this. But anyways, I'll do that. Anyways, changing them all to blue, and I was like, oh, that's so pretty. And this was before there was a winter Quaker, right? I was like, okay, this would kind of be like the early spring, end of winter, really pretty blue conversion. I love blue. That would be great. But then I also saw somebody did pinks and reds and made it kind of more of a springy, almost Valentine's Day kind of vibe to it. I was like, okay, that's really pretty too. So what if I did my own little mashup of blues, but more purples with it? So I have been pulling all the colors I almost never use because I feel like purple is an underrated color these days. It's so... Can I do this? Oh my gosh. I don't know. Awkward. Ugh. I'm not probably going to use all of these. This is just the pull from stash and a couple supplements to kind of get a vibe. But I am thrilled. I think it'll be so pretty. Blues and purples, and it'll just be spring. Do you see the vision? I think it's going to be really fun to play with. And if every Quaker was a different color, but there's like the palette, you know, the palette's going to work. Anyways, I'm going all quilty on it, and it's going to be super fun, and I'm really excited. And so to heck with winter Quaker, I'm going to start spring Quaker itty bitty. And if I love stitching on the 20 count, I've got a couple other pieces. Perhaps I will restart my winter Quaker, which I only had 70% of one motif done on. So, I mean, the time is now if it's going to happen. So I'm going to start that. And that is that. I do want to share really quick. I did get some cross stitch for Christmas. So I just want to share those just because it's fun, and then I'll let you go on your merry ways. I'm excited for the 20 count Ada, you guys. It has me feeling very optimistic. Not that I want to stitch everything small. And I love a big stitch, and I have no problem with stitching on bigger counts. Like, I'm all over the place. I stitch on everything. Ada, Lugana, linen, 28 count, 32, 36, potentially 20. Yeah. Anyways, I'm just excited. I hope it's an effective solution, because that would be really fun. And then some of these bigger pieces that would take, you know, large amounts of fabric could potentially be done on much smaller pieces of fabric, which is much easier to do from stash. So these first few were from my mother. She gave me this cute little Luca S kit with an owl and a ladybug. I mean, he's adorable. So cute. She gave me the first couple of the, what are these called? Seasonal Courier season series, which she did all 4 of them in a row on 40 count or 20 count Ada. And they're adorable, really tiny. They're so pretty. I especially love spring, but I mean, they're all pretty. Anyway, so I've got the first couple of those. She also gave me Who's There, which is so cute. And she has challenged me with dyeing an orange Ada to stitch it on. So I'm gonna have to go find some different Rit dye colors. And then she also gave me Hibernation Day, which is so pretty. And I'm thinking I will swap out, I've been playing in Floss again, swap out the reds for blues, potentially, so that reads a little less Christmas. Because the saying is all about winter. It has nothing to do with Christmas, but it reads fairly Christmas with the red in there. So maybe leaving a couple pops of red still, especially in the berry baskets and, you know, some of those borders, but then switching out for some blue as well. I don't know, just an idea. It's all very conceptual at this point. Okay. And then I was gifted from my friend. She's been in the process of destashing, and so I get to reap the rewards of that. And this darling skate night, which is hard to see, but it's so pretty. And she included the floss in there with it, which is a bonus. And I really wanted to start this immediately because it's so cute, but I did not have the right kind of fabric. I tried a few different things and was quickly disenchanted. And then she gave me kits. Wysocki kits. They're so good, you guys. Oh my gosh. Summer Street. Ah, so excited. Country Heartland. This is a big one. Oh, but it's so pretty. So pretty. And then these two, which I just have visions of in my kitchen. Ah, I love them. I especially love the duck. Oh, so good. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. Anyways, so thank you, Mom and friend, Mom and Jill. What haul. And then when I ordered my fabric, I also picked up a little bit of, so I picked up 3 patterns, and the one I already had. So I bought this one in the fall and planned on starting it for my 12 by 12. It's just here because I don't know that I showed it to you guys, and I'm just discovering Moira Blackbird designs and loving them. So I'm working on kitting this up. That one was already there, but then the last 3 things I got outside of quilting stuff with your guys's donations were this crossed wing collection pattern. You know, these aren't expensive. It was like $3 or something on 123, but they're so cute, and it's been in my wish list for years. I was like, okay, that's happening because it's so cute. And then these have flosses and stuff all tucked in them because I'm trying to kit them up. But Ducks in the Orchard, which I was watching Jordan the Tattooed Stitcher work on, and hers is gorgeous. And so now I have one too. But again, no fabric. I don't know what I'm going to stitch it on. And it does call for a Cottage Garden Samplings, I think, which I'm trying to substitute, which is why this is a chaos monster of different options. And then my last Moira Blackbird. This is gorgeous. And I saw somebody working on it. I've watched a lot of Flosstube in the last 2 weeks. I've just had it running in the background, and so I've watched a plethora of whip parades, and then people are starting to do more regular Flosstubes, and so I'm catching up with those. And after a couple of months of relatively low participation in my viewing, it's been really fun to catch up with things. Anyways, I don't remember who was working on this, but it's gorgeous. It was in somebody's whip parade. And I was like, I have that one now. So, you know, someday. Some days on these. These are not getting starts anytime soon. Because I'm not on an, okay, here's plans. Let's talk that really briefly. Sorry, zipper. Oops, I was not thinking. So, plans. Creaky chairs and tables full of goodies. Okay. See if I can organize my thoughts enough to convey this clearly. That sounds so serious. I don't have a lot of formal plans, and that's intentional. I would like to give, so I have my big 250th stitch, and then I've got my big girl stitches. And I would like, they will get alternating days, 30 minutes at the start of my stitchy session, if I'm able to stitch. Oh gosh, that's okay. So those, and there will be a rotation with the big girl stitches, so that will change what that is. But I'm not going to try to finish the 250th one this year. We're just going to, whatever we get with 30 minutes every other day is going to be awesome. And it will be a lot. I mean, that's a lot of stitching over the course of a year. I mean, if you think that's like 180, so it's like 60 hours of stitching. That's got to make significant progress if I'm consistent, right? So yeah, that's a fairly established concept in my brain. I also would like to get back into my monthly themes, which is something I really went more seasonal last year. It was like, if it's spring, it's spring. But I kind of abandoned all of my more defined ideas for how to organize my stitching. So I have made themes again for the year. And just for the first quarter, January is winter stitching. February will be love and Alice. So anything that makes me think of my husband and I, you know, Valentine's Day, or is Alice in Wonderland, that will become the focus for February stitching. March will be magical stitching. So, you know, dragons and fairies and whatever strikes me as magical, and you know, maybe an Alice will stay in there because Wonderland is magic. And then April, the theme is bunnies and blooms. So bunnies, flowers, spring. Let's let spring explode in our life. So that's the first. And then for May, I mean, that's going into like the next quarter, but I guess April was too. May, instead of a mania with like starting a bunch of new things because I don't really have any interest in that. There will be new starts periodically through the year, but as I said in my WIP parade, I'm hoping that those will all come from my kit stash or things in my house already. and I'm thinking that those will be relatively limited because I want to make progress on what I already have going. But so in May, I'm going to work on mushroom projects. Mushrooms. It's going to be Mushroom May, which will be fun. I've got quite a few projects, you know, little owls with mushrooms and my mushroom family that I started at 12 by 12. And so that'll be fun. So sticking to themes, you know, picking 10-ish projects a month within those themes and then giving them hopefully 2 to 3 days each. And then my my regulars. And that's kind of my thoughts. I definitely want to, you know, within those 10 stitches, I'm trying to incorporate some more of my full coverage again. I've picked 6 of those I would like to make progress on this year. And I also, you know, want to incorporate samplers into that because samplers are generally outside of any theme, you know. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to make any hard and fast rules, any big, giant, firm goals. This year is undoubtedly going to be unpredictable. And yeah, we'll just see what is happening. Yeah, there's a good chance that everyone in my family will move this year. Which sounds wild and crazy, but my parents are looking towards that being a possibility, and my sister and her husband are trying to move closer to his family. His parents need some help at this stage in their lives, and so just being closer would be good for everybody and having a support system for them. And even though my heart will break, but then there's a good chance that we too will move at some point this year. So later this year in October, September, October. So yeah, you know, wild and crazy. Life keeps trucking. I'm going to keep stitching through it all. We just don't know what I'll actually stitch on until I'm stitching on it. So it will not be this much. I'm going to try to get back to every 2 weeks for videos. We will see again how life allows that to happen. But if I can hold to that, I'll be back at the end in 2 weeks. So at the end of January, and then we'll see you again. You know, and it won't be as big. This was a big one because it's been a month or so since my last video, and a lot happened in that month for me with 12 by 12 especially, you know. 12 by 12 is more than I would normally work on in a month, and I started all of those, so you know, it was fun, it was good. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna let you guys go because I'm just rattling at this point. My plans are, I feel like I talk my plans up a lot because I have a lot of things in my head, but then when I vocalize them, they seem a lot more simple than perhaps. Maybe it's because I have quilting plans in my head too. So I'm juggling a couple of bigger hobbies there, and that might be part of why it feels more significant to me. I don't know. Who knows? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Have a marvelous Thursday, or whatever day you're watching this. Have a marvelous day. And I will see you in a couple of weeks. Fingers crossed. Okay. Take care, my friends. Happy stitching.